Did you see the video showing what happened to Valentine and him coming home from hospital? Well, have you wondered what'll happen when he comes home and meets up with the other males around the property? Well, in this video, you're going to see only a couple of days after he got home, Valentine met up with Momo, and Momo had quite a long day of it. I want to acknowledge the Widjabul people of the Bundjalung Nation, on whose land I'm so proud to live, work and play. This video is brought to you by the power given to me by my patrons, In the Loop adopters, calendar supporters and people who just donate and do things behind the scenes that make so much difference. Please do check the links in the description below if you would like to join the family. There's a new patron level now, which is the producer level, and if you choose that level, you will get a personal shout out in every single video. Now, let's have a look. It was pretty funny because when I came along this morning and saw Valentine here, you can see I'm like, oh, look, there's Valentine. He's not very high up in the tree. It's only a young tree, it's in the front plantation area, and I thought, oh well, it's great to see him back after a couple of days. He's obviously, going to enjoy some swamp mahogany. And I just sat there videoing, and I'm sitting on my quad bike watching him. He's having a good little bit of a grooming session there, making sure he's all beautiful. Have a stretch. Now he's going to move across over to the next trunk of the tree, and I'm just videoing thinking, oh, this is nice to get a little bit of welcome home Valentine footage. And at this point I had not noticed another koala in the tree. Here we go, a little jump. Jumping is the most energy efficient way for koalas to move through the trees. Now I notice at this point that Valentine's really having a good smell on the trunk of this tree, and here he goes. You see the way he's moving up the trunk, another smell, and now he's rubbing his scent gland on the tree. This is how male koalas mark their territory. Up he goes. I've come around on a slightly different angle to try and catch him climbing up the tree. He's still doing some scent marking on the way up. And next thing, I had to move around to a very different angle because he went behind some leaves. And look at this. There's Momo in the branch of the tree. I was like, What are you doing there, Momo? And there's Valentine climbed up to the top of the tree. Here's Momo looking down at me like, oh, I'm not feeling very good about this situation. After a little bit of a feed, Valentine came down, and look at how he has positioned himself right where Momo's branch joins the trunk of the tree. It means now there is no way for Momo to come down and get out of the tree without going through Valentine. And just look at the way Valentine is now giving some body language displays. He spent about 10, nearly 15 minutes just doing a big long grooming session there. I've cut out a lot of the in-between video because I actually have about 9 hours of video of this day, and I'm condensing it for you to give you the highlights. So that little display of grooming was actually telling Momo some stuff. I'm here, I'm in control, I'm feeling pretty good, you're out on a limb. From Momo, he's staying out on the limb because if Valentine tries to get all the way out to him, it's going to be too far out and the branch is going to break. So Momo is actually safe sitting out there. And now that his grooming is complete, Valentine turns his back on Momo, curls up and goes to sleep. Like, that is actually quite a display that he's giving, even though to all appearances, if you didn't know about koala behaviour, it would just seem like two koalas sleeping in a tree. So what is actually going on? Male koalas will engage in these behaviours where one male will trap another male in the tree, and what he's doing is he is showing his dominance over the other one. He will go out at times and attempt to have an altercation with that little one, but they're not really sitting there getting ready to fight to the death. Valentine is simply making it very clear, I am a much higher rank than you. If I choose, I can hold you here all day. If I let you go, it's because I've let you go. So he's basically saying, you have to realise that I call the shots in this area and you are lower than me in the social ranking. You can see that Momo's body language is really quite a submissive posture. He's just kind of keeping a bit curled up, head down, back to Valentine, because, making eye contact is always a very threatening kind of thing. And he's trying to say, I'm okay, I won't do anything, I'm cool, just leave me be. You've got to remember too, Valentine has just been in hospital for nearly 2 full months, so he still has to really get his strength and agility back. Look at this. Yeah, mate, I don't know if you should even be doing this, but to be fair, he managed. Now he's going out on this limb. Look at the way he's smelling it. So I think Momo probably had been in this tree for some hours before Valentine came along. I strongly suspect Valentine came along not that much earlier than when I came along. Maybe Momo had been in here all night. Valentine is now on the adjacent branch. So again, he is sending some signals to Momo. He's basically saying, I'm bigger than you. I could do whatever I want to you, but I'm not doing anything to you, but I could. Right? It's quite complex behaviour. Valentine was hoping to get a feed, I think, from this tree out here, but he also takes a moment to just sit and stare Momo in the eye before deciding that actually, no, that's not the branch he's going to eat from, and he goes back down. It's like just fascinating. I hope you like koala behaviour as much as I do, because I think this behaviour is incredibly fascinating. Please do make sure that you like this video. It makes a huge difference to the YouTube algorithms for me. Leave a comment below, share it with all of your friends, and make sure that you have subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss a thing. Momo's watching every move as Valentine climbs down, and then he went across and up into the next tree. Now my first thoughts were, oh wow, is he going to try and reach Momo from the next tree? That was definitely what I was thinking at first, but in actual fact, no, he just wanted a good feed. And this again is really important behaviour that is linked to all of what's going on here, which is that only the more dominant of the two koalas in these situations will eat. So Momo is not going to eat anything all day. He's going to stay submissive. But Valentine just climbs into this tree and decides that he's quite happy to have a nice big feed here. And Momo is very aware that he's eating and is basically stuck watching him. Once this meal was over, Valentine then climbed down to a spot where he could make himself comfy, and he went back off to sleep. Now he's actually in a separate tree to Momo, and I began to think, oh, I wonder if Momo will wait for Valentine to go to sleep and will sneak down the tree and try to escape. If you've been watching my videos for a long time, think of the great escape of Matilda when Bullet had her in the tree. That was what I was thinking. And so I had a camera recording all the time, a camera on a tripod recording all the time, and I would come back down every half hour or so and check the camera, replace cards, replace batteries as needed, etc. But Momo did not take the chance to escape, and what that tells me is that Valentine had made his point really clear. I am way above you in rank. You are in that tree until I tell you that you can go. Even if I move to the next tree, you're going to stay put. And all of that has been done with scent gland marking and body language. Amazing. Finally, during the afternoon, Momo woke up a little bit, and I often wonder if they have sore muscles the next day, because these youngsters or lower ranking koalas, quite often they are the juveniles, are often left hanging out on the edge, and they must have their muscles tensed up so much. But later in the afternoon, Momo did kind of wake up a little bit enough and start to look like maybe he can do something about this situation. Again, I really wondered if he might try to escape, or whether, he would go and try to have a bit of a feed or whatever. He's there right amongst the edge of the branches where all the leaf is, but he has made no attempt to eat anything all day, which is another good indicator of which koala is winning and which koala is just copying the lesson, so to speak. I've come down and he had a little bit of a look down at me, but basically you can see the little brain is ticking over. He's trying to decide, okay, what do I do? Will I do anything or won't I? I love the way that left arm of his looks so relaxed there. I'm sure he's trying to release some of the tension out of that arm, because he was holding on quite tight for a lot of the morning, and it must feel really good not to have to sort of be quite so tense. So he's looking down at Valentine now, so he's obviously weighing the situation up and trying to decide whether or not he's going to do anything, or, do I move or do I just stay put, because he knows that he is safe sitting in this particular spot. And being safe is better in the wild than taking a risk that you're not sure is going to pay off for you. And finally, after deliberating inside, again, most people walking along would just see a koala sitting in the tree, but knowing what was going on and watching lots of the body language behaviours, particularly coming back and watching them afterwards processing, I have a good idea of what's going on. And here he goes. He says, okay, I'm going to make a move. Koalas normally go down a tree branch backwards, and notice that he's not only going backwards, but he's moving slowly and carefully. He doesn't want to alert or alarm Valentine, of course. He didn't attempt to get out of the tree, which I think was really smart, but what he did manage to do was get right back to the trunk of the tree and curl up against the trunk of the tree and get some actual decent sleep. Whew, he must be so relieved. And he managed to do it well as well, because he didn't disturb Valentine. This is another couple of hours later, in the very late afternoon, when Valentine woke back up. So during the course of the day, Valentine actually woke up and had 3 short meals. Koalas don't usually eat 3 times during the course of a day, but I think that a lot of Valentine's eating was as much to give signals to Momo as it was anything else, because usually a koala would eat, really stuff themselves for, up to an hour, whereas Valentine would kind of get up and just just casually eat for 20-25 minutes, and that was a real behavioral thing. It was really good to see Valentine is still quite able to reach out, grab leaves, feed himself well. Again, after 2 months in hospital, you just don't come out of hospital with all of the skills and being at that same tip-top physical level as what you are when you've been out there doing all of this stuff all the time. You can see that Valentine's not even really that much into eating. A lot of it is, koalas do so much by smell, and eucalypt has a really strong odour to it. I'm sure you've all smelt eucalyptus before. So just eating would be releasing the smell of the eucalypts out there. And that tells Momo that this other koala, he's having a good feed, smell what he's eating. It's like almost like having a chef cook a meal in the next room to you and you can smell the meal cooking, except that you can smell the meal being eaten. Valentine gets himself ready to get into a comfy spot again and go back to sleep. You see him looking up there, he's checking on Momo. He's checking by looking at him. He was also doing a bit of sniffing, so he's smelling that, yeah, no sign of Momo having been eating. Momo's just sitting still. He stayed put in the trees, being told to stay in. Valentine has a bit of a scratch, a bit of a groom, and then gets himself settled into a nice, comfy sleeping place to go off to sleep again. We didn't get to see any screaming, yelling, fighting. So again, this male behaviour is much more to do with establishing positions within the hierarchy of the colony rather than fighting to the death. Male koalas rarely fight to the death, even though there are times when fights do end up in injuries or even in a death. It's much more common for there to be a lot of this posturing and sorting out of who's who in the colony. And I believe Momo has learned exactly where he stands today. I love how Momo's been able to wedge himself into that tree now so that he can release some of the tension that was on his body, and he's actually able to sleep with enough confidence that he's okay, that Valentine's, not going to rush in and attack him as long as he just stays put. When I came back along the next morning, no sign of either of the two koalas. So that means that at some point in the night, whether there was any little altercation, I can't be sure, but at some point in the night, Valentine probably simply left and Momo was able to get out of the tree. I have seen Momo since this, so these altercations are not a matter of saying, I'm the big male here, you've got to leave. It's working out where the two males fit within the structure of the colony. And guess what? You've done it. You've reached the end of yet another Koala Gardens video. I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into some male koala behaviour. I found the entire day just absolutely fascinating watching these two boys go through this, even though for the most part it didn't seem like a lot happened. There was a lot more going on than might generally meet the eye. So would you make sure you smash that like button and make sure that you leave me a comment. It really means a lot to me if you leave a comment. And one of the great things that you could put in that comment is to write below, Valentine wins this one. Thanks so much for watching. There's lots more great video coming your way very soon. Another way that you can support what I'm doing is every time you need to get something, go and check my Redbubble store before you buy anywhere else. There's over 60 different merchandise items there with loads of different designs. I guarantee there's something there for everyone. Go check it out. The link is in the description below.